Welcome back, everyone, to the Wedge 52 Gridiron Podcast. I'm your host, Wedge. Today's episode will be the Week 13 league-wide recap. We'll start with that Week 13 recap and then updated power rankings. Episode title already hints at it, so make sure you stay tuned to see those updated power rankings, as well as I will announce the Week 13 him performance of the week. Then, quickly move into Week 14. A little bit of a preview as well as my Week 14 picks. This episode will be slightly quicker just because of a slight time crunch, but we had to get it out for all of the loyal Wedge 52 Gridiron listeners. Make sure you smash that follow button. Smash the follow button on Instagram at Wedge 52 Gridiron. And let's jump into this episode. Last week's Thursday Night Football matchup was a good one between the Seattle Seahawks and the Cowboys. The Cowboys won it 41-35. Geno Smith, 23 out of 41, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception, as well as 2 rushes for 6 yards and a touchdown. Ricky Charbonnet, had a decent game, 19 rushes for 60 yards and a touchdown, I believe. That was his first touchdown. I could be wrong, but I think that was his first one. DK Metcalf absolutely popped off. 6 catches for 134 yards and 3 touchdowns. On the other side there for the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, 29 for 41, 299 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, as well as 7 rushes for 23 yards. Running back Tony Pollard, 20 carries for 68 yards and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, 12 catches for 116 yards and a touchdown. He has been lighting it up the past few weeks for Dallas. And then tight end Ferguson, 6 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. Moving on to the Lions and Saints. Lions took down the Saints 33-28. Lions started out hot and then kind of cooled off a little bit there, but did get the job done. Derek Carr went 17 for 22, 226 passing yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston both took, a handful or more snaps under center. Alvin Kamara, 14 rushes for 51 yards and 2 touchdowns, as well as 6 catches for 58 yards. And Chris Olave, 5 catches for 119 yards on the day. Not enough to get the job done, the comeback done against the Detroit Lions. And Jared Goff, who went 16 for 25, 213 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interception. Gibbs had 8 rushes for 60 yards. Montgomery, 18 rushes for 56 yards and a touchdown. A big day for rookie tight end Sam Laporta. 9 catches for 140 yards and a touchdown. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, 2 catches for 49 yards and a touchdown on the day. Broncos versus Texans. This was one of the games, I was most intrigued of, to see this week, see what kind of outcome it would prevail. A super hot Broncos team against a very, above expectations Texans team behind rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud. For the Broncos, Russell Wilson, 15 out of 26, 186 passing yards, a touchdown, and 3 interceptions. 10 rushes for 44 yards and a touchdown there for him. I was unable to, look into those interceptions this week on the Russell Wilson to see how many of those were his fault, or what kind of, happened on those plays. And then Cortland Sutton, 2 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. C.J. Stroud, 16 for 27, 274 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. Running back Damon Pierce, 15 carries for 41 yards and a touchdown. Nico Collins had himself a very nice day. 9 catches for 191 yards and a touchdown. Defensively, Will Anderson, number 3 overall pick for the Texans, 5 tackles and 2 sacks on the day. Very unfortunate news for the Houston Texans. Rookie wide receiver Tank Dell went down with an injury. I believe it was a fibula, and he has been announced, done for the season for him. Very unfortunate for him and the Houston Texans. Tank's been having a great rookie campaign, so props to him for that, and hopefully he recovers and is able to produce at the same level for himself and the Houston Texans next season when he should be healthy by the beginning of that. I would expect Chargers, Patriots. Chargers won 6-0. Wow. Bailey Zappi, 13 for 25, 141 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Ezekiel Elliott, 17 rushes for 52 yards. On the other side, Justin Herbert, 22 for 37, 212 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Austin Eckler, 14 carries for just 18 yards, no touchdowns. Keenan Allen, 5 catches for 58 yards, and no touchdowns. Khalil Mack, 5 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and 2 sacks. He is now the sacks leader on the season. I want to say with 15 sacks on the year so far. He's at top of the leaderboard for that one. Moving on from, that sad game right there, 6-0. Wow. Cardinals took down the Steelers 24-10 with the help of a Kenny Pickett ankle injury in the first half of that game. He did not return. It's looking like a sprained ankle. I believe I saw reports that he will be out 2 to 3 weeks with that. So it's going to be backup quarterback Mitch Trubisky. He went 11 for 17, 117 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. Najee Harris had 16 carries for 63 yards, and Deontay Johnson had 4 catches for 33 yards and a touchdown. On the other side of that one, Kyler Murray continuing to look, decent to good, I would say. After that, coming back from the injury, Kyler, 13 for 23, 145 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions, as well as 9 rushes for 20 yards. Big day from running back James Conner. 25 rushes for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Trey McBride, 8 catches for 89 yards and a touchdown for him on the day. The Falcons beat the Jets 13-8. Quarterback Tim Boyle, 14 out of 25, 148 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. He got benched for Trevor Siemian, who went 5 for 13 with 66 yards, no touchdowns, and no interceptions. Boyle has been cut by the New York Jets, and I'm not sure if it's announced yet, but I believe there's talk in probable cause for Zach Wilson to start again. If you check back a few episodes ago, I said I don't think Zach Wilson's the problem. Clearly he wasn't. For the Falcons, though, Desmond Ridder, 12 out of 27 completions, 121 yards, a touchdown, and 0 interceptions. Bijan Robinson, 18 rushes for 53 yards. Kyle Pitts, 4 catches for 51 yards. And then Jesse Bates, 7 tackles and another interception on the season for him. Moving to the Colts and Titans. The Colts took them down 31-28 in overtime. I believe they were down for a good portion of that game and came back against those Titans to win it. Will Levis, 16 for 33, 224 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. Derrick Henry, back-to-back weeks with multiple touchdowns, I want to say. This time he had 2 of them on 21 carries to go along with 102 yards. And then running back Spears also had 16 rushes for 75 yards. So very big day for, rushing attack for those Tennessee Titans. And then DeAndre Hopkins out wide, 5 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown for him. Not quite enough to get the job done. Gardner Minshew, 26 for 42, 312 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions at the, under center for the Colts there. Zach Moss, 19 rushes for 51 yards. Again, a reminder, Jonathan Taylor is out with a thumb injury, I believe. So he's going to be missing a few weeks. So it should be a return of Moss. See if he can kind of work his way back up the rushing yards, leaders board in the next couple of weeks here. Alex Pierce, wide receiver, 3 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown there for the Colts. And then Michael Pittman, been having himself, of kind of under the radar, pretty good season, I would say. 11 catches for 105 yards and the overtime game-winning touchdown there. The Titans did get a field goal in overtime, and then the Colts came back, and had that Michael Pittman touchdown for the win there. Dolphins 45, Commanders 15. The Commanders had no answers really for that Dolphins offense and for the ridiculous likes of Tyreek Hill. We'll get to that in a second. First, Sam Howell, 12 for 23 on the day, 127 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. No touchdowns passing, I should say, as he did have 2 rushing touchdowns on 4 carries for 21 yards. Running back Brian Robinson, 7 rushes for 53 yards. Curtis Samuel, 4 catches for 65 yards. Tua Tagovailoa, 18 out of 24, 280 yards, and 2 passing touchdowns. Devin Atchan, he was back. He had 17 carries for 73 yards and 2 touchdowns, as well as 3 catches for 30 yards. So good for the Dolphins offense, getting that piece back. He was having a very, very nice, start to the season before he got placed on IR. He has already won a HIM Performance of the Week so far this season. So good, definitely for the Dolphins, wanting him back to, on the field for them there. The Mostert still got his as well. 11 rushes for 43 yards and a touchdown. And then Mr. Tyreek Hill, 5 catches for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. That man is ridiculous this season. He's been ridiculous. But, especially again this season. Moving to the Panthers and the Bucks. The Buccaneers won that one 21-18. Bryce Young, 15 out of 31, 178 passing yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. Running back Hubbard, 25 carries for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then rookie wide receiver, another decent day again. Back-to-back weeks, I want to say. 6 catches for 69 yards. Moving to the Buccaneers side of the ball. Baker Mayfield, 14 out of 29, 202 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Running back Rachaad White, 20 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown, as well as 3 catches for 22 yards. Mike Evans went 7 catches for 162 yards and a touchdown, notching his 10th straight 1,000-yard season. He's been in the league for 10 years. Congratulations, Mike Evans. That is a huge accomplishment. And then on defense there for the Bucks, Antoine Winfield Jr., 8 tackles, a sack, and an interception. A solid day for the safety in Tampa Bay. Moving to the Browns and the Rams. The Rams took down the Browns 36-19. Joe Flacco, Ravens secret agent, went 23 for 34, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He did play solid throughout most of the game, except for the last interception he threw with about 7 minutes on the clock. That kind of iced it up for the Rams. I believe they went ahead and scored a touchdown on that possession, to kind of put that one away. Kareem Hunt, 12 carries for 48 yards. Elijah Moore, 4 catches for 83 yards. And then for the Rams, Stafford went 22 out of 37, 279 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns. Kyren Williams, 21 carries for 88 yards and a touchdown, as well as 3 catches for 24 yards. Puka Nacua found the end zone on 4 catches for 105 yards and that touchdown. And Cooper Kupp as well with 6 catches for 39 yards and a touchdown. 49ers and Eagles, probably the most interesting game heading into the week, into the Sunday slate. Definitely, I would assume most people were curious on the result of that one. 49ers took care of business 42-19. Absolutely, ran through that Eagles team. Good on the 49ers. They are looking very, very good at the moment. Jalen Hurts, 26 out of 45, 298 yards, and a touchdown, through the air, as well as 7 rushes for 20 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown, 8 catches for 114 yards. And then Devontae Smith, 9 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown for that 49ers team who put up 42 points against one of the best defenses in the league. Brock Purdy, 19 out of 27, 314 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. I believe that's potentially his 3rd week in a row with 4 touchdowns. I could be wrong on that one, but Brock Purdy's been playing very well since the Brock Purdy haters were taking over the media just a few weeks ago. Christian McCaffrey, 17 rushes for 93 yards and a touchdown, as well as 3 catches for 40 yards. Brandon Ayuk, 5 catches for 46 yards and a touchdown. And then wide receiver Deebo Samuel had himself a day, 4 catches for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns, as well as 3 rushes for 22 yards and a touchdown. Big game from him, helped propel that 49ers offense past the Eagles. Upset City on Sunday Night Football. The Chiefs lost to the Packers 19-27. Patrick Mahomes, 21 out of 33, 210 yards, touchdown, and an interception. Isaiah Pacheco, 18 rushes for 110 yards and a touchdown. Travis Kelce, 4 catches for 81. And Rashee Rice, 8 catches for 64 yards in the upset from the Packers. Jordan Love, 25 out of 36. He had 267 passing yards and 3 touchdowns on the day. Running back A.J. Dillon, 18 rushes for 73 yards. Wide receiver Romeo Doubs, 4 catches for 72 yards. And then a big game from wide receiver Christian Watson, who had 7 catches for 71 yards and 2 touchdowns. Moving to the Monday Night Football game, another upset as well. The Jaguars lost to the Bengals 34-31 in overtime. Trevor Lawrence rolled his ankle in the fourth quarter. I believe it's looking like a similar injury, slightly less severe than the Kenny Pickett injury, which I believe Kenny Pickett's expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks. That was the latest update I saw on Lawrence. So we'll both be watching for that update there. Before he left, he went 22 out of 29, 258 yards and 2 touchdowns. Travis Etienne, 11 rushes for 45 yards and a touchdown. Ingram, 9 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown. Zay Jones, 5 catches for 78 yards. And then defensive end, Josh Allen, edge rusher, linebacker, whatever. 7 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and an interception. So big game from him defensively there. And then for that Bengals team, who pulled off the nice victory for them, Browning went 32 for 37, 354 yards and a touchdown, as well as 2 rushes for 22 yards and a touchdown. Joe Mixon had a nice game, 19 carries for 68 yards and 2 touchdowns, as well as Jamar Chase, who had 11 catches for 149 yards and a touchdown. So that is the full recap on every single Week 13 game. A little bit quicker than normal. Like I said, that's all right. We're heading into the updated power rankings of the Wedge 52 Gridiron podcast. Starting off in that 32nd spot is the Carolina Panthers. 31 Patriots, 30 Bears, 29 Giants, 28 Jets, 27 Titans, 26 Bucks, 25 Cardinals, 24 Colts, 23 Commanders, 22 Steelers, 21 Chargers, 20 Rams, 19 Bengals, 18 Raiders, 17 Packers, 16 Saints, 15 Falcons, 14 the Vikings, 13 Browns, 12 the Seahawks, 11 Broncos, at 10 the Jaguars, 9 spot Texans, 8 Bills, 7 Detroit Lions, 6 the Dallas Cowboys, 5 the Miami Dolphins, 4 the Kansas City Chiefs, 3 the Philadelphia Eagles, 2 the Baltimore Ravens, and number 1 the San Francisco 49ers. The biggest movers this week, biggest climber was the Packers, moving up 8 spots, coming off 2 big victories against the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs, both teams that I have ranked inside the top 7. So the Packers are climbing fast. I believe they currently hold the number 7 playoff spot, so a third wild card there for them. And then the 2 biggest losers, the Steelers and Chargers, both dropped 7 after disappointing performances from each of those teams, and potentially them, hanging around a little higher in the power rankings than they already should have been. So those are the biggest losers. And that is the full updated power rankings list with the new number one, I believe, first new number one since I started the Wedge 52 Gridiron power rankings halfway through the season. And then now moving into the Week 13 Him Performance of the Week candidate. A couple of, nominees, names that were in contention for Him Performance of the Week here. DK Metcalf, Nico Collins, Deebo Samuel, Antoine Winfield Jr., and the Jacksonville Jaguars, Josh Allen. And the winner of the Week 13 Him Performance of the Week goes to Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel had 4 catches for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns, as well as 3 rushes for 22 yards and a touchdown. Deebo was doing Deebo things. Deebo is famous for this kind of game right here. Lots of receiving yards on, 4 for 116 is very good average if you care about that, and 2 touchdowns receiving, as well as, 22 rushing yards and a touchdown for that 49ers offense. All of this against my top-ranked team prior to this week, the Eagles, as well as, a little bit of bonus points for him, rocking the black Air Force Ones, as well as backing up his smack talk, from the NFC Championship game, lost to the Eagles last season, where the 49ers lost to the Eagles in that conference championship, much in part because, they lost Brock Purdy, they lost their other backup. I believe their third stringer was injured, and that was Deebo's point of emphasis. If Brock Purdy was healthy, it would have been, not even a close game, I think he said. So, Him Performance of the Week 13 goes to Deebo Samuel. Congratulations, sir. Moving into the Week 14 preview a little bit. I'll be honest with you. It's a lot of poor matchups, a lot of backup quarterbacks, a lot of mediocre quarterbacks going against backup quarterbacks. It's going to be a, bad week in terms of quarterback matchups. There's at least 6 or 7 that are not, great matchups. No star power, no guys like Matthew Stafford. Stafford versus Lamar is a good one. Other than that, Josh Allen versus Mahomes, Dak versus Prescott. Those are kind of the couple good ones there that I would consider good from both sides. So it's going to be an interesting week. There is a couple of big-time games, though, that I am looking out for, and that is the Bills at Chiefs. This one, the Chiefs coming off the upset by the Packers. They had the long, that was Sunday night, so a little bit of a shorter turnaround, and now going into, a big-time opponent for that 4:30 kickoff, I believe that one is, as well as the Buffalo Bills looking to get a statement win, looking to get back into the playoffs. For Buffalo there, they've struggled against better teams. We'll see, what kind of shows out from that one, from both sides of those teams. Both of them, trying to prove that they belong towards the top. Bills trying to get into the playoffs. Chiefs, I think, definitely fighting for that number 1 seed. They're the defending champs, all of that. And then the other one that I'm looking for, looking at the most outside of the Ravens game, obviously, Eagles at Cowboys. This is a huge one for implications in terms of playoff seeding, and who gets that, potential 1 or 2 seed versus who's getting the wild card, 5 or 6 spot there. So big one. The Cowboys have been hot. We'll see if they can perform against, a top-tier team and continue to be hot and play at a very high level. So the rest of the matchups, though, just so you all know, Thursday Night Football, Patriots at Steelers, Rams at Ravens on Sunday. If you want a full in-episode analysis of that one, please check out yesterday's episode where I did the Ravens and Rams preview. The Lions at Bears, Panthers at Saints, Colts at Bengals, Jags at Browns. I would expect Trevor Lawrence to be out for that one. And then we'll see what's going on with the Browns situation, if Flacco is going to start, or if the, healthy, I think he was in concussion protocol, he should be cleared out from that. So we'll see if their regular starter gets, the nod there. Bucks at Falcons, Texans at Jets. I would think Zach Wilson should and would start this week, but it's been interesting news, rumors that have been leaked and, debunked, I think, regarding that situation. Seahawks at 49ers potentially could be a sleeper game. Seahawks played very well against the Cowboys. We'll see if they can bring that level of play again to the 49ers, who are, a little bit different of an animal than that Cowboys team. Vikings at Raiders. Justin Jefferson should be active. That'll be interesting to see. Hopefully he pops off for them in his, game back. Broncos at Chargers. Bills at Chiefs. I skipped over that one, but we already talked about that one. Eagles at Cowboys Sunday Night Football. Packers at Giants on Monday Night Football, as well as it is a doubleheader Monday Night Football. Titans at Dolphins. Both of those Monday night games are kicking off at 8:15. That's all I have on the Week 14 preview here. I know it's a little bit shorter this week, but last week my picks, all I have left is my picks. Last week my picks went 10-3. So far in the season, I'm 127-66. That's good for a 658 win percentage, which is very, very high in terms of picking games correctly every single week. And here is my Week 14 picks. I'm going Steelers over Patriots, Ravens over Rams, Lions over Bucks, Saints over Panthers, Colts over Bengals, Jags over Browns, Falcons over Bucks, Texans over Jets, 49ers over Seahawks, Vikings over Raiders, Chiefs over Bills, Broncos over Chargers, Eagles over Cowboys, Packers over Giants, and Dolphins over Titans. That's all I have today for this episode of the Wedge 52 Gridiron Podcast. If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Please make sure you press that follow button right here on Spotify, as well as share this podcast with your fellow NFL and Baltimore Ravens fans. Help the Wedge 52 Gridiron Podcast grow and reach new listeners. Once again, thank you all for listening, and go Ravens.